My dearest, I'm writing this letter not to change your mind or win you back, but to honor what we shared and to give myself the closure that our relationship never provided. I need you to know that I love you deeply, completely, and without reservation. But I also need you to understand why I can no longer stay. This is not the ending I wanted, but it's the ending that will honor us both. I am writing this letter because I want you to understand that I have never loved anyone or anything as much as I have loved you. And despite all that, I cannot stay. I hope this letter finds you and it finds you well. I love the way your mind works, how you see the world through a lens of quiet observation and careful analysis. There's something beautiful about how you process life, how you find comfort in solitude and strength in independence. I love your laugh when it comes unexpectedly, catching even you off guard with its genuine warmth. Those rare moments when your walls came down and I glimpsed the tender person underneath. Those moments will stay with me forever. I love your intelligence and the way you challenge me to think differently. You never accepted my emotions at face value. You made me examine them, understand them, and grow from them. Even when it felt frustrating, I appreciated how you pushed me to be more self-aware and emotionally honest. Your perspective taught me things about myself that I might never have discovered otherwise. I love your quiet strength and the way you carry yourself through the world. There's something admirable about your self-sufficiency, even when it felt like a wall between us. You taught me about independence and showed me that it's possible to be complete as an individual. Even though your independence sometimes felt like rejection, I learned to appreciate it as a different way of being in the world. I love the small ways you showed care when you thought I wasn't looking, how you'd remember things I mentioned in passing, how you'd quietly solve problems without making a big deal about it, how you'd show up in practical ways even when emotional presence felt too difficult. Your love language was subtle, and learning to recognize it taught me that love comes in many forms. The pain of loving you has been the most beautiful and excruciating experience of my life. I found myself constantly trying to decode your feelings, searching for signs of affection in your silences, hoping that your physical presence meant emotional presence too. I became an archaeologist of your emotions, digging through layers of distance to find evidence that you cared as much as I did. I learned to live on emotional scraps, unexpected texts, a moment of vulnerability, a night when you seemed genuinely present. These small offerings became my emotional sustenance, and I found myself grateful for the minimum when I deserved so much more. I accepted breadcrumbs of affection and convinced myself they were enough because I loved you too much to demand the full meal. The uncertainty nearly destroyed me. I never knew which version of you I would encounter, the warm, engaged person who made me feel chosen and special, or the distant, unavailable one who made me question my worth. This inconsistency kept me in a constant state of anxiety, always wondering if I had done something wrong or if you were preparing to withdraw again. I spent countless nights analyzing our conversations, looking for hidden meanings in your words, and searching for clues about your feelings. I became hypervigilant to every shift in your tone, every delay in your responses, every sign that you might be pulling away. This emotional detective work exhausted me. But I couldn't stop because understanding you felt like a matter of survival. The person I became in loving you, I lost myself in ways I'm only now beginning to understand. I became someone who was grateful for minimal effort, who made excuses for behavior that didn't meet my needs, who convinced herself that patience would eventually be rewarded with the love I was seeking. I adapted myself to your emotional limitations instead of honoring my own emotional needs. I became anxious in ways I had never been before. Your emotional distance triggered every insecurity I had about my worth and lovability. I found myself constantly seeking reassurance, analyzing your behavior for signs of commitment, and feeling responsible for managing your comfort level with intimacy. I lost my natural confidence and began to question my own perceptions and needs. I learned to minimize my emotions to make you more comfortable. When I felt hurt by your distance, I told myself I was being too sensitive. When I needed more connection, I convinced myself I was being needy. I slowly erased my own emotional needs to accommodate your discomfort with mine, believing that if I could just be less demanding, you would feel safe enough to love me fully. I became someone who lived in hope rather than reality. I fell in love with your potential rather than accepting your actuality. I told myself that if I could just be patient enough, understanding enough, and loving enough, you would eventually feel safe enough to meet me in the emotional space I was creating for us. This hope sustained me through months of disappointment and unmet needs. What I learned about love through loving you. I learned that love without emotional availability is not enough to sustain a relationship. I learned that caring about someone and being able to show up for them emotionally are two different things. I discovered that some people can love deeply while still being unable to create the emotional intimacy that partnerships require. I learned that I cannot love someone into emotional availability. No amount of patience, understanding, or accommodation can heal someone else's relationship with vulnerability. I cannot provide enough emotional safety to overcome fears that were formed long before I existed in your life. Your emotional walls were built to protect you from hurt that had nothing to do with me, and I cannot tear them down from the outside. I learned that accepting someone as they are doesn't mean accepting treatment that doesn't meet my needs. Loving you exactly as you are includes loving your inability to show up emotionally in the ways I need. But accepting this reality doesn't mean I have to stay in a relationship that consistently leaves me feeling unfulfilled and uncertain. I learned that my anxious attachment style and your avoidant attachment style create a dance that brings out the worst in both of us. My need for reassurance triggers your need for space, and your withdrawal triggers my need for connection. We are caught in a cycle where my behavior pushes you away, and your behavior makes me more anxious, creating a dynamic that hurts us both. Why I choose to leave? I'm leaving not because I don't love you, but because I love myself enough to require more than you can give. I'm choosing to honor my own emotional needs instead of continuing to adapt to your emotional limitations. This isn't about giving up on you. It's about finally choosing myself after months of choosing us at my own expense. I deserve to be with someone who can meet my emotional investment with their own. I deserve consistency, emotional presence, and the kind of partnership where both people are equally committed to showing up for each other. I deserve to feel secure in someone's affection rather than constantly wondering where I stand. I'm tired of living in the gap between who you could be and who you actually are. I'm exhausted from hoping that tomorrow will be the day you feel safe enough to love me the way I love you. I cannot continue to build a relationship on potential rather than reality. No matter how much I care about you, I choose peace over passion, certainty over chemistry, and emotional health over emotional intensity. I choose to believe that I deserve a love that doesn't require me to minimize my needs or doubt my worth. I choose to trust that there is someone out there who can love me both deeply and consistently. The peace I'm choosing. Leaving you means choosing emotional peace over emotional chaos. It means no longer living in a constant state of uncertainty about where I stand or what you're feeling. It means freedom from the exhausting work of trying to earn emotional availability from someone who may not be capable of providing it. I'm choosing the peace of knowing that my emotional needs matter and deserve to be met. I'm choosing the calm that comes from being with someone who can show up emotionally without it feeling like pulling teeth. I'm choosing relationships where emotional intimacy feels natural rather than forced or feared. I'm choosing the peace of self-respect over the anxiety of settling for less than I need. I'm choosing to trust my own perceptions rather than constantly questioning whether my needs are reasonable. I'm choosing to believe that wanting emotional connection and consistency doesn't make me needy, it makes me human. I'm choosing the peace that comes from ending the cycle of hope and disappointment that characterized our relationship. I'm choosing to stop waiting for you to become emotionally available and instead create space in my life for someone who already is. My hope for you: I hope you find your own peace and healing. I hope you learn to recognize that your emotional walls, while they protected you once, may now be preventing you from experiencing the kind of love that could truly fulfill you. I hope you find the courage to explore your own attachment patterns and heal whatever wounds created your fear of intimacy. I hope you learn that vulnerability is not weakness, but the foundation of genuine connection. I hope you discover that being emotionally available doesn't mean losing yourself. It means finding yourself in relationship with others. I hope you find someone who can love you in the specific ways you need, while also being able to receive the love you're capable of giving. I hope you understand that my leaving doesn't mean you're unlovable or that you did something wrong. It simply means we're incompatible in fundamental ways that cannot be overcome through love alone. You deserve someone who can thrive in the kind of relationship you're able to offer, just as I deserve someone who can offer the kind of relationship I need. My gratitude. Despite the pain, I'm grateful for what we shared. You taught me about love, about myself, and about what I need in relationships. You showed me that I'm capable of loving someone deeply, even when that love isn't fully returned. You helped me understand my own attachment patterns and gave me the opportunity to grow emotionally. Thank you for the moments when you did let me in. Thank you for sharing the parts of yourself that you shared, even if they felt insufficient. Thank you for caring about me in the ways you were able to care. Thank you for being honest about your limitations, even when that honesty was painful to hear. Thank you for being exactly who you are, because loving you taught me who I am and what I need. Through our relationship, I learned to value my own emotional needs and to recognize that choosing to leave doesn't mean giving up. Sometimes it means finally choosing yourself. My goodbye. I release you with love and without anger. I forgive you for not being able to love me the way I needed to be loved. And I forgive myself for trying so hard to make it work when the fundamental incompatibility was clear from the beginning. I wish you happiness, healing, and the kind of love that fits who you are. This is not the happy ending I wanted, but life has different plans for us. I choose to remember the beauty of what we shared while also honoring the reality of what we couldn't create together. I choose to carry the love I feel for you while also carrying myself toward a future where that love can be matched and reciprocated. Goodbye, my dear. I hope you find your peace, as I have finally chosen mine. With all my love and hope for your happiness, someone who loved you enough to let you go.